Welcome to the FYI Show. This is will.i.am on Sirius XM, and we have an awesome guest. An honor to be talking to this artist, contributor to culture, mi amigo. We go way back.
Way back.
Super, like 90s.
98.
98.
We're getting old.
No, you look the same. Enrique
You look the
Iglesias,
same.
thank you so much for being. I gained a little weight, but I'm about to lose it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you don't age, dude.
Naturally, you know what I'm saying? Some push-ups. I was thinking about doing the Ozempic, but I'm like, nah, I'm cool. They call it right when they said this era's crack. I'm like, I'm cool. But I was considering Ozempic, but I'm just gonna do some simplistic push-ups and some abs and some squats.
So we know each other. We go far. We go back to the Interscope days. When I signed with Interscope, I think you guys signed around the same time?
Yeah, we signed in '97.
97. So I signed in 98. And then, man, we've done so many promo trips and so many places where we've met up and we've seen each other. We've spoken.
And then you went to Sony.
Then I went to Universal Republic.
Yeah, that's right.
And from Universal Republic, I went to Sony.
We went from Interscope to Epic Sony.
Oh, okay.
So now we're on Epic Sony. That's crazy. Our journeys have taken us to similar places. But that international, I remember they were like, "You guess who just signed to Interscope?" I'm like, "Who?" They're like, Enrique Iglesias. Like, wow. Like, you know what I mean? Your contribution to the Latin pop. Like, you did that shit before anybody's done that shit.
Dude, it's crazy because I've been through so much, and I've been through my ups, through my downs. Music, when it comes onto my music and the music that I've put out throughout the years. I mean, you know pretty well. You know, we were there in Interscope during the first 10 years. Well, I was there till 2010, and it was quite a ride. You know, we both kind of grew up with Jimmy Iovine, and we always used to go to those meetings, and you would sit down playing music,
and other people would come into to the meetings and be like, "Well, listen to this Enrique song,
Yeah.
isn't it great?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. What do you think, huh? What do you think? I'm doing the Jimmy voice. But I used to love those meetings because he would always bring somebody in from, I don't know. There was always a new guy around. It's like, what do you think? You know?
yeah,
And-
Activision or
Yeah.
people from Apple or Chrysler.
Yeah, or even executives within the company. There was always that one that was there for the 6 months that was, this guy's the best, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, Jimmy, Dan, I signed with you. I go, what do you think, you know? I'm like, Jesus, if you like the song, you know, and it just, for me, those years were incredible. I look at them, I go back in time sometimes, and I think, man, there were incredible years, but at the same time very stressful because you would have songs that you really wanted to put out, and you had to go through the whole politics of a label, and then everybody will give their opinion. I'll give you a quick story just because you were there during that time. For example, like in 2000, I had Hero, a song that I wrote, and I had it there for a year. And Jimmy's like, man, we need an up tempo for the album, and I don't, And then when I played him that song, I do have to say that when he heard it, he was like, man, this is a great song, but we didn't think it was the first single because back in the day, it always had to be an up tempo as a first song, you know?
Yeah, similar. I've been scarred as far as like, you think this is it. You've been working on something for like 2 months. 3 months, and you're like, okay, here it is, and you go in there stressed, and then some people then they give their opinion, and then they tell you, then be like, why don't you go and change this or change that? Then you're like, do I have to butcher? I've been working on this for so long, and so it one, it makes your skin thick. Because now when somebody's like gives me an opinion, I'm like, whatever.
Or your blood boil, you know? Or your blood boil. Like, dude, what the fuck? Sorry, did you say that? I've just been working on this for 6 months from some guy to say, hey, I think the hi-hat should be a little bit louder, and maybe you should maybe you should put some strings
Strings
on
on
this.
it.
You know, I got the best one. I got the best one. It would say, oh, and it needs a cowbell. I'm like, if you put a cowbell on it, it's gonna be a hit. You know, I don't even want to
Oh
say
my God,
names.
dude. Yeah, that's right.
I was like, oh
So
my.
there's this song that we have called "Where's the Love," and it has strings on it.
That is a good.
Because somebody told us, they were like, "Yo, we love this song. If it had strings on it, it'd be." I was like, "All right, y'all want to put strings on Where's the Love? Go ahead." So, ching, 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 ching. That was the strings on it, but it was the same.
But it was a hit. It was that was actually the first time that I got introduced to you. I mean, I know you guys have been around for a while, but that was, I remember listening to that song. Look, I get goosebumps thinking about that song because I'm like, man, will.i.am, the Black Eyed Peas are on the same label. This song, you know, that there's the tipping points in somebody's career. For me, that song, when I listened to it, it was so inspiring and it was so cool and it was so good. I still listen. There's those songs, you know, like, for example, I'm talking about, since we're label mates and other people in the label, you know, like when Lady Gaga had her first hit,
Yeah.
you know, there's those songs. For me, that one that you guys had, that first one that you're like, man, this breaks careers. These are those type of songs that just inspire any artist that is listening to the song. And I'm not saying this to smoke, to blow smoke up your ass, but I listened to that song and it was inspiring. I'm like, man, I want to have a song like that. It's just because it was incredible. Well, actually, I remember being at Interscope and begging to work with you in the studio. And we worked in the studio. I don't know if you remember that because
Yes,
you worked
we
with
did.
so many people.
It was at Record Plant.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. You remember.
It was at Record Plant, and our travel career was based off of, you know, Martin Kirstenbaum was like, you need to travel like Enrique. This guy, he goes everywhere. And I was like, what do you mean everywhere? He's like, listen, you could focus on America. He focuses on America, but he also, because they would do that really well.
They would.
Interscope would do that really well. They'd be like, listen, you want success? You got to go out there and do it like da-da-da. I'm like, wait, they do that? Yeah, they do that.
They would tell me about you. You got to do what Will does. You see that? He's doing all the promo, all the interviews. He's doing absolutely everything.
They told that same shit to me.
You know?
Enrique's doing all the promo in Miami. He's going to New York. He's also going to freaking like DC. He goes to France. He spends lots of time with Gigi in France. He goes all
and you know what? I do got to give it to Martin Kirstenbaum because he was the head of international. And a lot of times you forget, I mean, the U.S., of course, the U.S. is the number one market for music. But a lot of people forget that, 60% of the market for music out there, you know, you got to travel. You got to do the whole thing. Especially, I mean, I look back at it now, I'm like, man, I don't know how the hell I made it, because there was days, we've been through this, that we were so tired. Like I would go to, there was, each country had their way of doing promo. Germany, I would go there and I would go to 5 different cities in Germany, and it would, you know, it was, you'd be in the hotel, 8 o'clock in the morning, sit down, and they would have a list of, I kid you not, you know, like 40 interviews. And I remember by the 40th interview, you're like, oh my God, what do I do?
Yeah, like
what do I
30 interviews in, and it's like the similar questions would be like, so, Enrique, so your new album.
Yeah.
Why?
But it was worth it.
Why? But sometimes the English barrier, the loss in translation, they would be like, I remember when France, we were like, hey, so Black Eyed Peas, Appel, Taboo, will.i.am, and Fergie, why? Because I knew what they really wanted to ask, but they just couldn't. And by the 30th interview, the translator was burned.
Yeah, that's true.
So then you have like passionate journalists.
But every country was important. You know, you knew that. I mean, for me, going to France and going to Germany and listening to one of my songs on the radio, or just even getting that chance, it was like, man, this is a hell of an opportunity. So, and that's the way that my career also, in a way, was. That's how I evolved. You know, for me, every country mattered. I don't care how little it was, how big it was, you know, whether it was the U.S., whether it was France, whether it was El Salvador, whether it was Chile, Argentina, Mexico. everything counted, and I was just happy whenever I would leave a country and I saw that the work was worth it, and that the fans, or you got people to listen to your music. I was it was worth it, every single one of them.
Yeah, but I'm reading here. It says that you just finished a 43 date sold out arena tour in North America with 600,000 tickets sold.
Yeah,
That's freaking amazing.
that was awesome. Yeah.
Like amazing. What was your favorite? What's your favorite place to tour in America? Like your favorite city? Like, yo, I can't wait to rock. Da da da.
Well, I will say this. I love touring in America and the U.S. because you don't have to go through immigration and customs. And they don't give you get no, you don't have to get checked, and they absolutely, so it's so easy. You just land, and then you get in the car and you go to the venue. I like that the distances are not that, because we were used to going to places that are 12 hours away, 20 hours away. So it's cool that I can actually set the tour up in a way that I'm not away from my house more than 7 days max, which I really like. So, I mean, there's not a place that I like in particular. It's sometimes the towns or the cities that you don't expect the crowd. You don't know what to expect, and the crowd is amazing. So,
Yeah.
like, I remember in this tour, man, Oklahoma was incredible. There's just places, and then there's other places that you've been to a million times, like whether it's in LA, but there's just shows that are more special, and that maybe, and a lot of it has to do with how you feel that day, because there's, you, in a way, we're actors, but we can't really hide a lot of the way that we feel in particular that day. So, I mean, every show's different, and what I do try to make sure is that I don't take it for granted. And I always think of, being able to be in an arena with 15,000 people that just paid money to come and see you. You better make sure that, that they have a good time. So I always try to think about that and think about how fortunate I am. And I don't ever want to take that for granted, no matter how many years go by.
And what's awesome too is your new project that came out in September.
In September, and yeah, it came out in September. Then the album came out a few months ago.
September, no, the one from 2021.
Oh, from 2021, yeah. Final album one. Final volume one, and then I just put out final volume two.
And
That's it. My last two albums.
no, so wait, that wasn't just the title. That's for real.
No, that was for real. And the reason why, I mean, I can say this openly, I did volume one and volume two. I would have done just one volume, but my record deal was for two albums. So I had to do volume one and volume two. I got to that point in my career where I don't feel like I don't want to record. I want to record, but I don't want to do a whole album. I've put out 12, 13 albums. So my process for making albums, I mean, I've seen the way you work. You know how it is that you do 100 or 150 songs to get to those 10 songs. And my lifestyle has changed. The way that I want to work has kind of changed, in the sense that I want to be able to go to the studio and just focus on one song. And if there's one song that happens to be there that I write or that I co-write that feels great, then just go with that. I don't have to wait until I finish a whole album. At least at this point in my career, for me, that's what works. You know, everybody's different. Every singer, every artist, every songwriter is different.
But was it awesome having a project that has people like Bad Bunny, Nicky Jam, Farruko, Mike, Zion, and Lennox? I love those. Wazine, what?
Yeah.
And Pitbull, like all on one project.
Yeah, I mean, they've become friends. For me, for example, Wisin y Yandel, that was the first collaboration that I ever did was with my first album with Inscope, which I got to collaborate with Whitney Houston. And that to me was incredible. But after that, I didn't do that many collaborations until 2007, where I met Wisin y Yandel, and they came from the reggaeton world. And a friend of mine I said, why don't you guys work together? I was like, man, I don't know if is that really gonna work? And we started to work on a song, and I was and we worked together. Whatever they were finishing it up, and then I was traveling to Europe. I was in Estonia doing a show, and they sent me the song, and I remember, to be completely honest, the first time I listened to it, and it was a song that all of us wrote together. I was like, what is this? I listened to it the first time, and I was like, this doesn't work. And then I listened to it the second time. I remember perfectly. I was in my hotel room, and I'm like, "Oh shit, this is this is this is incredible." And that's, to me, that was a tipping point where I said, I need to start working with other artists, especially with other artists that come from different genres. That's the only way that I'm gonna evolve musically. This
Yeah.
was back in 2008. So it from there on, then I started working with, with Pitt, with Nicky Jam, with Miranda Lambert in this case. Just, it's good. It's always helped me, because I know that I have a certain style of writing, and if you don't work with other songwriters, you eventually you could easily get stuck, and your style is not going to progress, it's not going to evolve.
Yeah. And congrats, because being around for as long as you've been around, to have something that comes out, in this era that performs to the tune of like 4 billion streams. Fuck out of here, bro. That's a lot of streams.
Yeah, I've had a lot of misses too, by the way. We were talking about the songs that did well, but I've
Yes.
had a million misses.
Okay, okay, let's talk about the misses. That one miss that nobody knows, but who knows it? They talk about the ones that everybody knows, them 4 billion motherfucking streams. That's hard.
I know, but to be honest, I mean, out of the music that I put out, probably 5% has been successful. There's another 95% that hasn't been as successful, but it's been rewarding for me. It's part of the process. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's, I don't make, I mean, look, of course, I mean, I want songs to be successful, but I do it, I like making music, period. And that's also another thing that I always talk about, that I don't want to do music right now just because you have a label deal and you got to turn in a certain amount of songs. I want to I want to keep on doing songs and be just as passionate as I've always been about it. If I happen to write a song or co-write a song that comes along that I love, then let's do it. But I don't want to have the pressure of, hey, you got to turn in an album, or you got to turn in this amount of music. No, I want to turn in music. I might go 2 years, 3 years, 4 years without writing something that I like. So it is what it is.
And what about your rum business?
My rum. Okay, so the alcohol, the spirit business is. I just, there's side businesses that I've done, and they've mainly been for fun, and just kind of experimental. Really, what I do is music. That's I don't look at it as a business, but in a way, it is the only business that I really, really, really understand.
What about? I mean, we like to eat. Are you to your folks, like, do you eat at the restaurant you have with Cristiano?
Yeah, that's also another interesting business, because it's I'm a little bit of a control freak. So whenever you go in business with multiple people at the same time, especially the restaurant business, it's tricky, and it can be a little bit stressful. But then again, I've tried that. I did the rum business because whether it's successful or not successful, because I like the rum. I usually do stuff because I want to try it and because I'm in some way passionate about it. You won't get me to do something that I'm just say, oh yeah, just give me a paycheck and let's go ahead and do it. In the case of the restaurant business, whether it be Tatel or with Atlántico or anything that I've done, is because at some point I was passionate, whether it worked or it didn't work.
Well, the thing I like about the Atlantico rum is, as everyone's chasing like tequilas and vodkas,
Vodka.
you know what I'm saying? Like, rum is just as enjoyed.
Yeah.
And by putting like star power behind, other elixirs or spirits is really freaking smart. And it's just a matter of time. The more time you put in, the more like since 2000, whatever. What's the year that this year?
2010. It's interesting you say that because at the time, like, why are you getting into rum? Everybody's doing vodka, and everybody's doing tequila, and I'm like, I don't know. I like this rum. When I go, out with my friends on the boat, where I'm out there in the beach, I love going to the Bahamas. That's what I drink during the day. I'll drink some rum and coke, or just rum on the rocks.
Yeah, that'd be dope if there was just rum and coke collaboration with Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Actually, we would mix it with anything. I would mix it with Sprite, Sprite Zero. I like it.
And what's next? Because I know that you're not the kind of person that's you just said it here, like these are your last albums, but that's not the last of you making music.
No, it's not. And I think I've made that pretty clear. But I still get that question. Oh, so you're that's it? You're retiring? No, I'm not retiring. I just don't want to make albums anymore. I'm going to keep on writing songs, and it might take some time until I stumble upon that song that I want to put out there, and I want to talk about it, but also in a way, again, we've been doing this. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, excuse my ignorance. I don't know the last song you guys put out.
The last record that we put out was with that succeeded is with Shakira.
Oh yeah, I've heard that
song. Don't
you
worry. And then we have another record that we put out
with J Balvin.
J Balvin and Ritmo.
I like
and
that
then
record.
Mamacita with Ozuna.
Yeah.
And now we have this new record with El Alfa.
How funny! I have a song with El Alfa too on my album.
And Becky G called Tonight, and it's coming out on the Bad Boys 4. The lead soundtrack comes out on the 10th of May.
You know what I like about you guys? That you always included the whole Latino movement in there. You guys, I think I can tell that you always got it. You live in LA, you're very close to Mexican people and people from Central America.
Yeah.
And then you started. A lot of people were not that open to it many years ago, and even now it's tough sometimes. Because there's that cultural divide, but you don't give a shit about that. You actually you take that in and you make it part of your music, which is really cool.
Being born and raised around Mexicanos was like the best thing. What's the only thing I know, but I can't imagine being in something that rich of culture, spirit, vibe.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, Mexico is a
chingon, like just like whole fucking shit. So I just love being in that environment, and it's the reason why Black Eyed Peas are the kind of group that we are, where we worked with like Daddy Yankee back in 2004, or Sergio Mendes and Joan Sebastian, and Juanes. We were always open to work with you, Ricky, and like always just down from the jump. Before we did the Grammys in 2004, we did the Latin Grammys in 2003. Like, the Latin community took us serious way before the gringos.
And you know what? It's a thing that us Latinos, we kind of feel it when somebody's for real or not, or they're just doing it. And again, I'm not saying this because I'm here in front of you, but you could tell you really embraced it, and you really love it, which is really cool. And I will say this: my career started in Mexico, and I've always said, they always ask me, like, who do you think is the most loyal audience? I'm like, if you notice with Mexicans and their families, like the kids, the parents and the grandparents, they'll listen to the same artists. Their level of loyalty when it comes down to musicians and to artists, that's why there's that. That's why they're able to last for so many decades. It's because the fans are so loyal. I'm not saying that other countries are not as loyal, but that's the one thing since my career started in Mexico, I saw it, you know, and I would see it with other artists. Somebody like Juan Gabriel, for example, you would see that parents and their kids and the grandparents would listen to it and listen to him and go to his shows. Someone like Vicente Fernandez, and the same thing applies to so many artists. You know, I feel like they're super loyal. You know, and my career in a way has survived. I've always said whenever I go to Mexico, I feel like I'm Mexican because that's where I started.
Wait, you're not Mexican?
No, no, I'm not Mexican. I mean, but I mean, I signed when I was 18. I signed with Fonovisa, which was a Mexican label, and not till this was in 1995, and not till 1999, once I had turned in the 3 albums that I owed them. I went over to Interscope, and the only reason why I did that is because they didn't record artists that would sing in English, you know.
Yeah.
And I had a song that was in English, so it made sense. And by the way, that was probably the toughest decision in my career because at the time, you know, Fonovisa to me was like they were my family, and they were one of those record companies that it was a small record company, but man, they were like the president, Guillermo Santizo. He was like a father figure, you know.
Yeah.
I knew he had my back, you know. And whenever I would tell him, hey, I'm going to these other places where you guys don't have a label, but I know you're being distributed through whether it be a Universal or through Sony or whatever, and they're not paying that much attention, he would pick up the phone and he would fly there himself and just make, you know. It was
That's the reason why your arena tour in America, to me, is so impressive, and like I salute, because as you just said, touring outside of America, if you have success, you'll have success for decades.
yeah.
While America disposes a lot of stuff, but if you're able to keep and sustain success in America, that's like iconic, and you are like iconic.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your iconography and your career, your discography, your vibrancy, your love for music, and your passion, your bravery to be like, this is my last album. Wait, volume 1? No. Okay, cool, great. Volume 1 and 2. And then from there, I'm just going to keep on making music at the pace that I want to in the
pace
form
that
of
I want,
singles.
you know.
That is freaking amazing. And you've been that way since the beginning, you know, down to earth. Like, you're super down to earth. And in the neighborhood
bro, you
I'm
think
from,
I'm not down to earth?
yeah, bro.
Dude, I'm a diva, man.
No, there's a lot of fucking like. There's a lot of freaking like foo-foos, but you've always been super cool, and you know, and like authentic. You know what I mean? You've never have anything on that's chunti. It's always freaking fly, like awesome stuff. You know chunti?
No, but what is it?
So in East LA, chunti's like, you know, like, you know, not all the way fresh. Okay. It's tacky, but you're never tacky. You're always like.
Yeah, that's not what my girl says. She's very tacky sometimes. I always wear the same shit. She goes, man, can you change it up a little bit? I'm like, nah.
But thank you so much for being on, spending time with me. It's an honor because it reflects. It's reflecting my past. You know, building this show here at SiriusXM, the first guest that we have.
It's awesome, and thanks for always treating me with, you know, always being so nice, with so much respect, you know. And
I don't think you
always,
understand.
every time we've ever seen each other and we've crossed paths, tons of times, you've always been down to earth too.
No, it's a visa for me. So after this, I'm gonna go back. I'm like, yo, I just interviewed Enrique. You know what I'm saying? You should have seen back when we was coming up. We'd be like, hey, guess who I just saw in the studio, Enrique. But you're always, it's always a pleasure, bro. Like, you inspired me through my career, and your achievements are like amazing.
Likewise.
Thanks, bro.